If you have a backyard sump pump and it fails, this is usually the result. Can you see all the water here in the yard? I mean, it's got to be 3-4 inches deep all across the backyard. And that sump pump is the heart of what keeps this dry. So if it fails, you end up with this. This is a home in Ormond Beach that we've been to many times, and we just had this huge monsoon. And of course, that backyard, we have system in there, and it took it out of there great. But when the sump pump fails in a backyard, look at that. You can put the kayak out there and enjoy a pond in your own yard. But that's not what you really want. You really want a dry yard. So let's take a look at this home in Ormond Beach and what happened here.
Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. It's a cold morning here in Florida. Last night, right above freezing, so I've got a lot of shirts on here. But today, this video is about sump pumps and sump pump maintenance. And if you own a sump pump, I really hope that you watch this entire video because it's going to give you a lot of information, especially about groundwater. And if you've got a backyard system, you're down here in the south or you're up in the north, it makes no difference. There are things that happen with groundwater versus regular tap water that aren't the same. In other words, groundwater has a lot of minerals in it, and it really can back up the check valve, the discharge. There's an old check valve here. It's just full of what some people call iron oxide, but it's just a mineral deposit that builds up from groundwater in using your sump pump. But take a look at this pump and how full, and it's just so corroded with these minerals that it quit working. And the pump actually came from our favorite job, the below sea level CrawlSpace in Ormond Beach. And of course, that home, that sump pump, it maintains that home. If that sump pump fails, that CrawlSpace fills up with water to whatever level sea level is. In other words, high tide, it's here, low tide, it's here. And that pump is so important. But take a look, and I hope you enjoy the video.
So we're out here at Ormond Beach in our favorite CrawlSpace. This is the CrawlSpace that is actually below sea level. And this weekend, we had a monsoon where there was 6 inches of rain here in Ormond Beach in less than 2 hours. And that Zoller M98, which is a great pump, it finally burned out. So we've got, again, about between 5,000 and 6,000 hours that pump runs continuously. So a long time, but we're going to put a new pump in here today. Right now we're just pumping it out. You can see water's coming out, and only take a few minutes, but I just thought I'd let you know, give you the update on the CrawlSpace here and how long a Zoller actually lasts, because they do last a long time. 6,000 hours, that's a long time for a pump to run continuously. And thank heavens it's cast iron, because otherwise it would overheat instantly. I mean, within just a day or two it would overheat. But this is a great spot right here. Nothing wrong with the house or the CrawlSpace. It just happens to be below sea level, and a lot of water comes into this CrawlSpace all the time. There are many homes around the country that rely on the sump pump, and this one is very extreme. Can you see all this water? When this sump pump fails, this CrawlSpace floods. I mean, it completely floods with water, and the sump pump is so important to the operation and the dryness of this CrawlSpace. So this home is flooded. We had a huge monsoon, and you can see how much water was in. We're pumping it out right now. Show you a little bit more of that. But when that sump pump fails, whether it's your house or your neighbors, if that sump pump fails, you're going to have a major flood. And again, this home here in Ormond Beach is actually below sea level. So the pump is so important here.
We're only a half a block from the ocean, but you can see that we're pumping the water out. I actually got 2 pumps down there, and that water is moving quick, but it is totally flooded underneath of there. So I've got 2 half horsepower pumps. One's discharging out to the back, and it's quick, but this one's pumping out. I would say there's about 8,000 gallons of water in this crawl space. It's a huge home, so a lot of water has collected underneath of there.
Okay, so remember, when you're disconnecting the old pump, that there's a check valve that keeps that water from coming back down the line, and you can see how much water is in the line. So let's go ahead and let that drain out, and we will go ahead and pull this pump.
Got it. So you can see what we're doing is we're going to pull that old pump up out of there. We wouldn't recommend that you lift up on that pipe, but in this instance we're just pulling the pump out. We're going to set it outside here. So here's the pump that came from the Ormond Beach crawl space. Basically we went ahead and replaced that entire pump and check valve and also jetted all of the discharge line. But take a look at what appears to be mud. But this is actually a mineral deposit. And can you see here, if I can get a close-up of it, it's only your finger wide. That's all the area that water had to come out. It could not possibly keep up with the amount of water that comes into that crawl space. And it looks like it's mud, but it really is just mineral deposits. Some people call it iron oxide, but it's the minerals down underground, groundwater, and that's how it builds up. And you can see this is a vertical shaft, and it still builds up. It's tremendous amounts of debris, and really you need to clean these lines. It is so important to maintain this system. So you can see what appears to be mud that has caked up onto the cast iron Zoller M98. And I just showed you the inside of that pipe, remember? That was just super full of what looks like mud. But it's really an iron oxide, and it comes from the groundwater. But take a look at this pump. Let's look at the impeller. Let's see what's going on there. Can you see that? Look at how much crud has built up inside this impeller. When your basement or crawl space is relying on a sump pump, in other words, it is a critical part of keeping that area dry, it is so important to check that pump and the discharge at least once a year so this does not happen. So I'm going to clean this off a little bit, and we'll plug it in and see if that impeller actually turns. I can hear the float kick on and off. Can you hear that? So the switch still works, but look at all of that crud. So this check valve, can you see that inside there? Let's get a close-up, if you can see it. Look at that. Look how full of iron oxide this check valve is. You can see the arrows pointing upwards. This is the correct way. Look at the bottom of it. Same thing. Look at that. Does the check valve work? Yes. But such a small amount of water could get through there, and you can see it just pouring out. Let's see if the check valve actually works. Yep, I can push the valve open. I know you can't see that, but I can push the valve open. Look at that. So yeah, we need to replace that check valve, there's no doubt. But let's explore that pump a little bit more. Remember I showed you, if you can see down in there, how full this line is. There's only about a finger diameter. This is 1.5 inch pipe. We're going to unscrew that and take a look and see how much oxide built up inside of here. Okay, I've got the pump plugged in. I'm going to flip the switch here, the float. Remember, as water rises, it would lift up this float, and as it gets higher, it kicks it on. Oh yeah, can you hear that? It's working great. In fact, oh yeah, there's such an airflow coming out of this discharge. It works really good. There's nothing wrong with that pump, and we would not give it back to the customer, or, you know, put it back in service, not resell it. I might use it out here on our property, and we've got a couple of acres here at the office and a couple of backyard sump pumps and French drain that leads to it, and it works great. I mean, it keeps this area completely dry, and we've got trucks driving in here every day, all day, and people are just shocked when they come to the backyard, you know, the deliveries, like, wow, your yard's dry, everybody else's is flooded. But they work really good, but we need to maintain these systems. So a point of reference, here's an old, exact same check valve, came out of another job. When we put a new pump in, we always replace the check valve, but look how clean that is. Can you see that? Normal wear and tear. And the valve works great. I mean, everything works great, but when we put a new pump in, we just replace everything and usually throw it away, or, you know, bring it back here and use it somewhere on our property. But yeah, that's a perfectly good check valve as compared to, if you remember, if we can get another picture inside there, look at that. I mean, it's just totally full of iron oxide. So if you are a sump pump owner and your pump is running slow, I mean, you'll know, I think most people know that their pump's running slow. They're used to hearing it move, you know, X amount of water, and you hear it go off. If it's not running as fast as it used to be, you need to check that discharge. And I would suggest to start with, replace the check valve, do that first. And I've got some videos showing you how to do that. And then also clean that discharge line. If you're up north, most of the time, this 1.5-inch pipe comes out through the basement wall above ground, and then it ties into your downspout drain. So it's a 4-inch pipe, you know, going out to the street. Rather, here in Florida, you know, we've got 1.5-inch or 2-inch discharge. So here's one of our Spartan 1065s just out here in the yard, but you can see it's got a 3/4-inch steel wound cable. And you would think that you could run that through the 1.5-inch pipe, but you cannot. And I mean, it would be great if you could, but it just doesn't go. I mean, I can only push it in there so far. And yeah, if it would spin inside there, you can see it would get the mud out. But what works even better is the jetter. And I've showed you those videos. I'm going to post it up here just in a minute. You'll see how well the jetter actually cleans this pipe. It'll make this brand new.
This is a mini hydrojet nozzle, and it fits on the end of your pressure washer with a hose. Can you see the little jets in the back? On this nozzle, there's 4 jets in the back, and they actually power the nozzle. They push the nozzle down through the line, and there's a nozzle in the front that actually cuts the debris out of the line. Take a look. This is a totally clay clogged pipe. Solid clay. You can see how that nozzle just destroys the clay, just chews it all up and pushes it out, and also pulls it back to where you're working. Let's take a look at that in slow motion. You can see the 4 jets in the back, how they're powering the nozzle. They're pushing it down through the line. The cutting jet that's in the front is actually cutting a hole through that debris. And then the 4 jets are able to push and also pull the debris back out of the line. And you can see it'll just cut right through almost any stoppage. Big chunk of clay comes out. But more than that, you see how when we pull it back, you can see how much debris is getting pulled back by the 4 jets in the rear. The real power of this thing is when you pull it back. Hydrojetting technology has been around for a long time. You know, way back in the early 80s when I worked at Rotary Jetter, the commercial end of that company, we used to go out and clean from manhole to manhole with the jetter truck. and it works exactly the same way, but now we have the technology to get down in these little pipes. We use the jetter to clean French drains and channel drains, especially micro channel drains, but it's also useful for sewers, kitchen sinks, bathtubs, any small drain that you can send, a steel cable down. You can send this mini jetter down and actually make that line brand new. Let's take a look at another example. It happens fast, so pay attention. You can see how quickly that mini jetter just destroys that clay, just rips through it. Let's look at that in slow motion. As soon as I kick on the jet, the front nozzle cuts completely through the stoppage. Then the mini jetter comes up and it's just chewing up that debris, chewing up all the dirt, and it's gone. The front nozzle is the cutting nozzle, and the 4 jets in the back, that powers the nozzle. They drive the nozzle forward through the stoppage. They also clean the line as you pull the cable, the hose back. It makes it brand new. It actually works best in PVC, because PVC, when it gets stoppages in it, it is very difficult for even a steel cable to get through that Schedule 40 or even the thin wall. The mini jet is a great way to clean a line. We use it mostly for channel drains and French drains. So one of the problems using the mini jet, especially an 1.5-inch pipe, is if you have a 90-degree turn, because it really won't make that turn. So you have to dig the line up and go into the line beyond the 90. But other than that, it works really, really good. This is another type of mini jet. It's called a rotary jet, and we use this in much larger pipes. However, it would also work well in 1.5 to 2-inch pipe. It cleans that line and can really make it brand new.
Hey, this is Chuck with Apple Drains, reminding you that if you believe you can do something, I guarantee you can do it. Have a great day.